in that grand final, but they need to respect this Space Station roster, because the things we were seeing them do against Sentinels, I think Andy was completely right with some of the snipes they were hitting, the aggressiveness that we saw, and how they were just collapsing on teams. They could beat anyone on that given day, and I don't think they are going to fear Cloud9. Maybe on a different week, Space Station might have gone, okay, you know, top 3, we've done our job. I don't think they're going to be happy. I think they want to just get to a grand final. They want to show what they're made of.
Yeah, I think they do indeed, and to show what they're made of, they need to get through this heavy series layout here. And actually, I was trying to look to see if we did have a Catalyst, either StelluR or CTF game here. We don't currently have one on the board, because I was very impressed with the starting strat that we saw against Sentinels from Space Station Gaming, getting that overshield so fast. It was the fastest overshield grab I think I've ever seen an ace had that one. Bringing in, I think, that priority in starting strats into this series is going to be super imperative for the Space Station roster. But Gaskin, not to ask you back-to-back questions here, but what do you see in this series layout?
We do have StelluR Livefire, which was already played by these two earlier on in the winners bracket. Cloud9 won 50-45, so it's not like it was, you know, an absolute blowout and Space Station have no chance at that one. But Cloud9 were able to get the better of them. In terms of who stepped up, Suppressed had 14 kills. I'm not really surprised, because after what we saw, what he did against Sentinels on Livefire, I'm sure he had that sniper rifle in his hands. But it was StelluR and Eco who were the two players to look out for on that Livefire game. 16 kills apiece. So I think that Cloud9, once they get to that StelluR Livefire, they should be feeling relatively confident. So Aquarius capture the flag, I would say, is a must-win for Space Station, just to give them good confidence going into the rest of the series.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really tricky if we you know, if they are not able to kind of get through, I think, the majority of that series later, especially the swing modes, that they really need to win here to have a fighting chance. But I'm really excited to get into this one. I have been given permission to hand it over to my extremely overly capable casters of Bravo and Gaskin.
Thank you so much, Lottie. Man, I'm feeling for Mark here. Mark's getting roasted and toasted, burnt to a crisp. Dan, fantastic to be alongside you for this series, and normally we wouldn't be this excited, you know, honestly, about a C9 Space Station matchup, but this one's a bit different. This one feels like it's going to be a little bit different from the last few weeks for Space Station.
I mean, if we track back to Anaheim and think about C9 versus Space Station, we're questioning why on earth we're watching this on a main stage. That's how poor Space Station were back then. But they have come leaps and bounds. They've changed a few players here or there. They've been trying to find that right roster that just gel together. And it looks like they finally hit the winning formula, right? Top 3 is already, you know, overperforming by their standards originally. But now they have a chance to go that one step better, to kind of cement their moment in Pro Series history by getting to a grand final. And there is going to be a pretty, you know, peed off Cloud9 there waiting for them, and I think this is going to be a tough series, but I do think that this is going to be a far closer series than it may have been in previous weeks.
Yeah, and quite a rivalry that's building. We haven't really talked about it enough, but last week you saw G1 eliminating Space Station. It might have been a 2-1 last week. That brought G1 to the broadcast in the Elim Finals, and a fantastic performance from them overall in the bracket. And then now you look, Space Station sends G1 home, denies them the top 3, denies them the broadcast opportunity as well. So something else that we'll keep an eye on as well. But now Space Station is looking well past that, as you say, and an opportunity against C9. I think one thing we talked about last week with C9 is they were kind of already looking ahead to the grand final. It feels like they might have an even tougher road with the Space Station roster this week, just because of the 2-0 that Space Station dealt out to Sentinels.
Yeah, and even though that last week, you know, G1 were on a pretty impressive momentum run at the same time, I think beating a Sentinels just adds to that kind of confidence that we're going to see, because we talk about, you know, the top 4 teams, the big 4 or whatever, and being able to take them down, being able to solidify yourselves in that spot. If you can beat a Sentinels, you can beat a Cloud9. Sentinels were the best team in Kansas City. They won the LAN. So Space Station is saying, well, if we can beat first place, why can't we take down a Cloud9 who were only able to get second place? I don't know, it's not as simple as that, but it's funny how the brain can work in trying to give yourself confidence to win a series.
Oh, absolutely. I think one thing that I'll point out is what Onset said. Space Station just needs to continue playing and not afraid, being the leader here. You saw how aggressive they were on all power-ups, all power weapons in their series against Sentinels. We'll have to see if they can do the same thing against Cloud9. Game number 1 is going to be Aquarius CTF.
It's going to be a tough start here for Space Station. Knowing how Cloud9 approach this game, it is very efficient with their flag runs once they do get the slays. But I tell you what, that's a start. All 4 are dead on the side of C9. A camouflage for Space Station, and Cloud9 left scratching their head saying, what went wrong?
It's a camo thrust heat wave for Kuhlect as well. This is a recipe for disaster for C9. We'll see if he can get behind enemy lines. Thought about even grabbing the second thrust, but instead maybe just going to leave that bottom middle, try to get into the enemy base, and look at C9 just slow playing this.
Did they see him? Did they see a little glimmer? No, it looks like Kuhlect has just waited at the perfect moment, waited for that support, gets the double, and now he just needs to send one of his teammates in first. This could be a run here for Spacestation, but no. Cloud9 have done really well to at least get kills elsewhere and stop this push very much in its tracks.
Wow, Eco and Pznguin picking up 2 kills out of nowhere. So Kuhlect will get a double kill by the end of it. However, it shuts down the rush just like you said. Suppress with some nice work there in the high gen to pick up another kill. So he'll already have 3. Kuhlect has 5 to his name. Nice shots once again on Eco. We'll see if he can turn 2 and a nice trade, single-handedly taking down 3 players there.
And if you didn't see Ace's interview earlier, maybe you've joined the broadcast late, Ace was talking about Suppress, saying how excited he is to have him on his team, how excited he is to have a young, raw talent like that. He thinks he's just got that ability to, you know, to throw himself into fights, to be confident, to win engagements, and we've just seen that happen exactly on our screens using the pistol to full effect.
Just trying to win this battle as well. Kuhlect comes back for the battle against StelluR. Not easily won. The nade taps him just a bit in this 1v1. They'll trade out. Excuse me, that's going to be Bound that was top pink there. But a fantastic trade between those 2 players. And of course, unsurprising that they find themselves evenly matched. Suppress tries to come around the corner with the wave. Will not connect. That flag run will stop in the gen.
Wave after wave, slowly drifting around the corner, but unfortunately he's just a little bit the victim of timing there. Where if he hadn't been touching the flag, if maybe he had got around the corner expecting someone to be there, perhaps had heard the footsteps, but wasn't able to do so. Camo's coming up. Maybe remember, Spacestation were able to get the first one, and even though they did put it to good use, they weren't able to really get a pull off the back of it.
That's right. You saw actually even Kuhlect converting in the back of the base on the straight stairs as well. However, Eco and Pznguin with kills out of nowhere to stop that run in its tracks. A great defensive effort early on from Cloud9. We'll have to see if Spacestation can continue the pressure, but this time it's an Eco grab of the camo as he's going to go ahead and back to his own courtyard. But look at this flank. Great shots there, great angles. Double kill comes in for Eco. 4 dead.
Would have been there to clean up the triple if he needed it, but now this is a matter of getting to the opposition space and trying to pin them back. As you know where they are, they're going to be spawning over towards Fridge. Flag can start moving, but I think with how they've tossed that flag out, you need to be making sure you slay in the front of their base, which he will do so.
Oh my god, Eco just telegraphing the plays. It's a killing spree for him. Look at him sitting far back on pink 2 so that he can't be naded out, and completely predicted the front courtyard run. That flag will go home. Eco stays alive the whole time off the back of that camo run. It's fantastic work from Cloud9. Flag run continues.
Efficient runs, that's what we know and what we expect from Cloud9, and that's usually what the difference maker is between some of these, you know, top teams and those who are around in the top 4, maybe top 6 area. But Spacestation just unfortunately not able to keep up with the pace of what Cloud9 were able to do there. Still within it. Yes, okay, it's 2-0, but Spacestation just needs to keep a level head here. Make sure they slow things down, calm it, reset it. That's exactly what Ace was talking about in the interview as well. Earlier on against Sentinels, they were down 2 hills, but they were able to come back into the game.
Yeah, look at Suppress picking up 2 in the high gen as well. It's great aggression. That was 3 dead momentarily. 1 is a fresh spawner. The flag run will start for just a second. Suppress with a great use of the thrust to avoid all of that nade damage. His shield actually recharged despite the fact that it looked like he was getting tagged up. Fantastic shots against StelluR there on the Fridge side. Eventually will be taken down, but Bound is last player alive in Gen. On paper, this flag should go home.
Should, unless Bound can get the damage. He cannot. It forces Ace at least to the front of the base where he was vulnerable, but the cap goes in. Spacestation got exactly what they needed there. Just a little bit of breathing room, a chance to just assess the situation. They took a pause, and they were able to get a perfect flag pull, a perfect flag run, even with Cloud9 having 1 player remaining. Was not in a position to stop it, but now they just need to be careful they don't get counter-capped.
Here comes StelluR now. Has brought the flag through the gen. Tries to avoid the frags, but Kuhlect with a nice flag. That will bring him to 15 kills, by the way. Fantastic numbers from him. Once again, leading the entire lobby in the slaying department.
All 4 dead once more. Spacestation have done one thing very successfully, and that's been able to eliminate the whole Cloud9 roster on several occasions, and that is so helpful when you're trying to set up and position yourselves in some of these power places, because when you have the freedom to the entire map, of course, you've got that little bit of extra time to think about where you want to go. Tylenul gets a double, and now Spacestation pushing once more.
Yeah, 2 dead right here. 2 dead for each side, though, so that will slow things down just a bit. Ace going to see what he can do in the gen. He does have some help, but they need to make sure they're focusing together. 1 kill will be traded out. Nice job from Ace to pick up 1. Almost turns 2 there with the sidekick. Eventually, he will fall, so things will slow down just a bit. 6:37 left in the game. Still just a 1 flag match.
I think Spacestation can smell blood here. I think they know Cloud9 look a little bit weaker than maybe once expected. Whether they're bruised and battered from the loss to Optic, I don't know, but I think you have to try and make it count here and now. Otherwise, if you allow Cloud9 to go up in the series and they start to gain a little bit of momentum and a little bit of belief, then it gets more difficult. But KotH punishing the opposition with the heat wave there.
KotH is 18-10 against Cloud9 right now. Fantastic mechanical work there with the thrust heat wave to take down Eco. That's 3 dead. Eco, last player alive once again. He's in the back base. And another opportunity here. A camo grab, second time we've seen it for KotH with the heat wave as well. Let's see if he can convert here.
This is where it gets dangerous. You just don't want to get spotted out. At least he spots the first one, who is very weak. It's always slightly dangerous when you're in these courtyards and you take a fight, because you're then so vulnerable to those players who will challenge you, and there you go. You've lost your camouflage, and 3 of you are dead. You did a lot of damage, but Ace is still going to be able to move this flag, but it's going to be moving both ways.
He needs to be careful here, absolutely. He's going to watch the straight stairs just to see if he can catch anyone off guard. Not finding anyone back base just yet. Bound will be the first player that he finds, and nice work with the sidekick. Wanted to avoid the trade there if he could. Those will be traded out, though. Still a man advantage for Spacestation.
Looks like Spacestation are going to get the return. Cloud9's flag is still out right now. And SSG get a touch. They win the engagements. They do get the touch. They've done everything they needed to do to get this flag moving. But Cloud9, they've overextended. Eco's already in the base. Ace has to win this fight. Does not. And now Eco can be a real nuisance.
Let's see what they can do. They need to eliminate Eco immediately. Also, players pushing in. That's Pznguin pushing in bottom gen as well. This has been a delayed flag run. They will need to slay again to bring it home.
Eco managed to get 2. Does get traded out eventually. The touch still comes through, though, from Spacestation. 2 down on both sides. Make it 3 down, though, on Spacestation side. StelluR has come in and done clean-up duties as the janitor, but Ace manages to get that final kill.
Ace gets the kill, gets the touch. Can he get the second as well? It's a huge double kill flag touch for Ace. That flag will go in single-handedly. Last man alive. Ace from the back of the base will tie the game 2-2.
That's what you expect from Ace, a veteran in this side. You've got some newer players, some new blood to the Halo scene, but if your veteran player can step up in those situations, that puts you in great stead for the rest of the series. Tied up 2-2 now, 4 minutes remaining, and suppressed KotH. They've been running around absolutely frying together. 25 kills right now for KotH.
My God, everyone was wondering, where is Ace? Everyone knew last player alive. That flag looked like it was a for sure return in the high gen. Ace comes out of nowhere to get the double and the flag touch. Teammates spawn around him, and they will bring that second flag in. If you're just joining us, you picked a hell of a time to join in. This is the elimination final. C9 versus Spacestation. Game 1 tied 2-2 with 3:44 left on the clock.
Do not adjust your TV sets. Spacestation are in an elimination final. It sounds crazy because they have struggled for so long, but they've finally risen to the heights that we knew was possible with some of the players that are on this roster. And it's crazy what we're seeing from both of these teams. Bound gets a really nice commando shots there to ensure that he helps Pznguin run this flag, but Spacestation making a real game of this.
They certainly are. As we say that, though, Bound with huge kills on his opponent's flag, just standing there doing what we expect to see from Bound as he picks up those kills. Amazing work with the commando as well. So while he might not have the exact same stat line as KotH right now, he doesn't worry about that at all. He's 21-17, and they lead the game 3-2 with 3 minutes left.
One of the biggest things on my mind right now is the fact that, you know, we've not seen FaZe, we've not seen E United, but Spacestation, G1, these guys are going to be looking to try and take these places off of those teams who are going to be maybe lacking in practice, returning when Orlando comes around, when the Super comes around as well. And I think that certainly some of these teams who were a little bit lower down the pecking order before might be able to roll with the big dogs very firmly now, because Spacestation, they are putting on a show for us here. They are 3-2 down, but we know full well with 2 minutes 35 left to play, there's still a chance for them.
Yeah, gotta be careful though. 2 dead back to back. They find themselves on the receiving end of these slays. Eco's also pushing in with the heat wave and just commanding the utility side of the map, and Ace is gonna be no match for that wave either. 2 dead though, so Spacestation slowly pushing out of the base.
KotH trying to get to Suppress to help him out. It's been happening all game long. Those two have been running hand in hand, but just arrives a little bit too late to the party. Maybe slightly awkwardly late, where everyone's had a bit too much to drink and you just want to leave. And now we see Cloud9 manage to get a couple of kills on the board, but Spacestation responding well with 2 of their own.
Absolutely. Still 2 dead, as you say. Ooh, and that camo still up. That will be 3 dead for Cloud9, and an opportunity for a camo grab if they take down Bound. They do, without trading, on top pink. That's huge. That was 3 dead. KotH with his 3rd camo of the game, and another opportunity to convert here. They're down by 1 flag, 140 left.
31 bloody kills this man has. Make it 32. And if they're going to get a 3rd flag, this is probably their best opportunity with a camo to work with, but he's walked straight into StelluR, who has a lot to do on the other side. KotH just needs to stay alive so he can try and put this camera to good use.
My God, he's making us nervous, but he picks up the kill, somehow perfectly times the turn around the corner, slides under the grenade as well. He's got a few grenades. The flag is running from Suppress. 2 dead. This will be 3 dead if they kill Pznguin. 3 dead. Bound, last player alive. They're looking for him. He's in the back of the base. This flag should go, especially with that heat wave tagging. Suppress now going to drop. He also has Ace here as well. This flag will go in. We're tied 3-3 with 60 seconds left.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda, has to when KotH has 34 kills. I'm sorry, you cannot afford to be losing a game when someone is absolutely slaying like KotH is right now. But you need to hold on. You need to stop this counter cap from happening. It's happened a couple of times where Spacestation got the flag in, Cloud9 then respond with a flag pull of their own. But it looks like they've managed to stop the bleeding. They've managed to stop Cloud9 from breaking into their base. So we've got 38 seconds until overtime.
Look at the shots here from KotH as well, cleaning out his whole base, just doing so much damage, getting so much info, and staying alive as well. This guy is absolutely insane. He was already a household name in competitive Halo, but if you don't know the name, you certainly know it now. KotH is 36-21.
20 seconds left. You can see Bound doesn't really know where to go at the moment. He's worried that he's going to get pushed as he's trying to get a last-ditch attempt at a flagpole, and that's great shots from Bound, but he is taken down. He is traded out. Spacestation have lost 2, though, and Cloud9 are going to try and get this, but look at the positioning from Ace.
Ace with the great work. He knows the last player alive is also going to be Pznguin, who tries to keep it alive. Ace says no from top middle here as people get ready for sudden death.
Triple kill for Ace in the final moments of sudden death, but we're going into overtime. 36 kills in those 12 minutes from KotH. Ace also picking up 20, but we cannot separate anything after the minutes we've just played, so instead we have to play 5 more.
My God, an absolutely fantastic game number 1 to start off our elimination final, of course. An unbelievable series so far. Trades going in bottom middle, and the kill counts will extend for these players. We really could not have asked for a better game number 1, and if you're a Spacestation fan, you couldn't have asked for a better tournament. Certainly the best result they've seen so far all season long, and looking to do even better than that.
Spacestation have trusted in Ace for so long. Tylenul also been on this roster for a while. KotH has been such a key factor, but Suppress, the new boy, has very much been impressing. Alongside KotH, they've really been running as a 2, and Suppress has another camouflage to work with.
See what he can do here. Slowly over the course of the game, Spacestation has converted more and more with these camos. We saw early on, they got the damage, they got the kills. Didn't result in the flag pull they wanted. But over the course of the game, they've slowly put more and more pressure on, as things will slow down for just a second. 1 dead for each side.
Is this where experience starts to kick in? The nerves start to kick in maybe for Spacestation in the dizzy heights of overtime here against Cloud9. Complexity were able to take a map off Cloud9 earlier in the winners bracket as well. I think that Cloud9 definitely bleed, and Spacestation know full well that if they can draw enough blood here in game 1, the series might also be there for the taking. But they've got to make sure they stay focused in these final moments, because Cloud9 starting to get aggressive and looking to make a pull.
KotH is the only player alive. Haven't seen him on screen just yet. Eco will start that as there were 3 dead. KotH stuck on Dynamo's dangerous place to be as the last player alive. He will be eliminated, but that will buy a lot of time for his team.
Eco does reload this heat wave and can do the damage with it to follow. Does he just go for the objective here? 3 are dead. Tylenul's the last remaining player, and with StelluR being in car side with him, this could be the last and final flag round for Cloud9.
Oh, it's too clinical from Cloud9. Look at the timing. Look at the patience from Eco. Knows exactly how to run this flag. Nades are coming.
Nice
damage
nades.
Comes in. Not done just yet. Bound is last player alive. Bound is now. Let's take a look. That's going to be 4 dead. They should be on this return. This game is not over.
It is not over. Grenades are probably going to arrive from the fridge side, but the return definitely happens. You double hop it, you run the flag yourselves, and Spacestation have somehow pulled off a little bit of a miracle, but great nades on the other side for Cloud9 as well to stop that run.
KotH has to drop pink 1. He will get that kill. 2 dead for his side, so he knows that he needs these kills, as they will retire 2 players on Cloud9 to the death screen. My God. Goal line stand for Spacestation. You thought the Cloud9 flag was going home. They had 3 dead during the run, but they took a little bit too long. Perfect nades coming in to stop the flag. Sudden death overtime will continue.
Holy, we have a 40 bomb, everyone. KotH has been able to pull it off at the perfect time. 2 minutes remaining. If he can carry on slaying out the way he has been, Cloud9 will be quaking in their boots. Spacestation get all 4 dead once more. Could this be the flag to take this game 1?
First spawner's Eco. He spawns back flag. He does not spawn fridge. Take a look at that. That's a big deal. It forces the flag run to stop. Suppress dies on the flag. The next 3 split spawn on the fridge. Some wild spawns coming in there for the side of C9. Might have saved the day. That flag will, of course, go back to the stand. And Spacestation still controlling top middle, but they'll have to rethink the next flag run.
Baum gets taken down, just aimlessly running through bottom middle. Maybe he was trying to get to Pznguin. Pznguin loses out on his fight with KotH as well, as everyone else has done so far. And the longer this game goes on, the more those stats are going to increase on KotH's side. So he's probably saying, you know what? Another minute and 30, maybe I can reach 50.
Man is setting some records here, that's for sure, in terms of Aquarius slays, especially in an elimination final, and especially against a team like Cloud9. There's a heat wave. KotH wants no part of that heat wave, so he thrusts in for the melee as well. 3 dead again. Eco, last player alive for Cloud9. It's a high gen run, fakes that, goes low gen, and already across the halfway mark. Spacestation, potential game-winning flag.
44 kills, and he's doing the objective. This man's doing it all, but are Cloud9 in a position to stop this? The grenades were good on the other side. Can they punch it home? Are going to see one last player, and Tylenul puts it in. Spacestation take game 1. Cloud9, unfortunately, could not stop that last flag.
It's an overtime win for Spacestation Gaming, with KotH going 44 and 29 against Cloud9. This is unheard of for Spacestation and unheard of in the Halo Championship Series. What a way to start our elimination final.
What a performance from not just KotH, but this entire Spacestation roster, who, after going, remember, 2-0 down here on Aquarius Capture the Flag, could have very easily crumbled and just accepted, well, you know, it's Cloud9. I guess we're expected to lose. But we can see those glorious statistics on our screen. 44 kills in the end it was for KotH. Still gotta, like, commend the fact that there's 3 30 bombs on the side of Cloud9 as well. Granted, there was, 17 minutes played, so more time than usual, but that is a very impressive 44.
Unbelievable game. I don't even think we gave enough credit to C9 that entire series, just because we're used to seeing them this late in a bracket. However, we gotta also mention how great of a fight C9 put up. But Dan, I think that tells the story that they were down 2-0. Second time we've seen them. Different objective game type, of course, but you pointed out Ace's interview, how they completely reset. They knew they need to focus up, and that's something the Spacestation of old was not the best at. That was not their strength. Now, though, they're able to dig deep. They're able to find the comms they need, and these comeback wins in overtime are upsetting some of the best teams in the world as we take a look at the damage KotH, almost at 9,500.
9.4 get 4K. And you're right, they were able to reset. And it's all well and good having, you know, someone who's got experience who says, guys, we need to slow down, we need to reset. But you need a team that is also going to listen to that and put it into the equation of finding the way back into the game, having a response, having the ability to find those kills. And I think that we are starting to see a Spacestation roster now who are very much going to be in the question of teams to compete for some of these top spots. And whilst they're not going to be thinking about the dizzy heights of, you know, winning tournaments necessarily just yet, a couple more maps here against Cloud9, and suddenly that becomes a reality.
Look at this play here, closing the distance, staying alive in the back of the base. This play from Ace, picks up the 1, double flag touch there, has to win this one as well. Shields were just recharging and wins this battle against Bound, who had thrust, so that the teammates can come in an absolutely enormous moment. I cannot wait to see the goal line stand, though, in overtime here. You saw Cloud9 take a lead once again with 3 minutes left. You might have thought it was over at that point. My God, what a game number 1.
Can we talk about how efficient Spacestation were with those camouflages? Like, they were so effective at being able to pick them up and then making them count as well. The first one was a little bit awkward. It didn't really do much, and then they went 2-0 down, but some of these later camouflages really did allow them to get back into the game and punish C9, who were unaware, of course, where that player was coming from. It was a triple at the end for Ace, but I think that Cloud9 were just trying to finish it there and then. But look how close Cloud9 were, Bravo, to getting that flag in.
Unbelievable there. I think a lot of people would have placed their bets that that was over. Suppressed also getting the flag off the stand there to start things. KotH was the one, as you said, with huge numbers, also the one to bring the flag all the way home off that counter cap.
Yeah, he said, guys, do I have to do everything? No, of course, he wouldn't be saying that, but I mean, they're going to be feeling on top of the world right now on Spacestation. The amount of adrenaline flowing through them after a victory like that in overtime against an opponent like Cloud9, who, of course, have so much honors, so much experience, so much tournament victories in their past history as well. But we somehow have to move on to another set of maps, because that was only map number 1.
It's another 4-3 overtime win for Spacestation. We've seen that before. That's exactly how things went in their game number 1 against Sentinels. Different game type, different map. However, the score stays the same. Now we'll go to game number 2. StelluR here on live fire. Can Spacestation repeat? Can they take a 2-0 lead in the series against Cloud9, some of the best in the world? We'll start things off here with KotH. He'll trade out kills.
So it was a game type that Cloud9 were able to win earlier on in this tournament against Spacestation in that winners bracket. Remember, Cloud9 were the team that sent Spacestation into the elimination bracket with a 2-0 victory. It was a 50-45 on that occasion, but the likes of Suppress, the likes of Kuhlect, they were still doing the damage. They were still finding the kills. This first overshield is going to be huge, and Bao manages to shut down Tylenul.
Very good deny there from Bound, but you saw Ace there likely getting that. There's also going to be a drop shield to help them, so that will be a Space Station grab on the power-up for the first one. Down by 1 kill, but they will be the aggressors here on the house.
Slow down for a short moment. You could hear a pin drop on live fire, but then suddenly explosions start to rain through the map, and Ace is just trying to find someone he can put this AR to use with, and eventually does find the unexpected prey. 8-5. And this has been a solid start from Space Station.
Yeah.
Not only that, but they've also got the sniper rifle to work with.
Keep in mind, they were down 5-4 just before that overshield. They're able to grab the overshield, turn things around completely. Fantastic work. Nice finish from Tylenul as well on that shot, doing the work himself. They'll lose Suppress bottom middle, but that will not stop the push ahead. Tylenul going to use that last shot and then swap it out for a heat wave. Has some help from Kuhlect. They should be able to get that kill, so they will extend their lead even further. Make it a 2-kill game, though.
Those 3 very quick kills that leaves Tylenul on his own. He's done his job by at least getting a trade there. I think if he had gone down without getting one, then maybe his teammates would have been asking, well, what were you doing with the heat wave? Still have a lead, though, and they have that chance to just reset ever so slightly, but I think Cloud9 are going to look to try and get aggressive here because they've got all the weapons. But Ace does manage to take down Bao.
Ace on no shields there. Very nice job. He'll pick up 1. Eventually get traded out, though, by a kill by Pznguin. Bound and Pznguin will be the 2 who fall, making it 2 dead for Space Station off of that, excuse me. Just making it now a 1-kill game as everyone gets ready for the next overshield.
Yep, this is absolute mayhem happening over towards OS. Tylenul in a really good position where he can bank some nades off of this corner, off these corners.
Oh,
unfortunately, can't quite get the double melee, and that's going to be a frustrating one.
A funky one indeed. Gonna have to go watch the tape. StelluR gets away with the overshield as well. It's a series of heartbreaking moments for the side of Space Station. He's trying to keep his back to the wall to make sure he doesn't get back-whacked by cuts. But just like that, Cloud9 will get away with the lead. 20-16 now. They're also going to find a player on dirt. That'll be Kuhlect, and this might be the moment that they start to run away with things here. A pretty sizable lead, the biggest lead we've seen them with yet.
If I'm Space Station, I want Kuhlect to have a heat wave in his hand, a sniper in his hand. I want to see him be able to put those goodies to the best use possible and do similarly to what he was doing in Aquarius, but maybe StelluR looking to demonstrate what he can do. StelluR, excuse me, in his slaying abilities does eventually fall. This game is still awfully close for Space Station. They had the initial lead, but this is what Cloud9 can do, right?
That was a great 3 dead for each side. It was a 1v1 with Suppress there. Suppress wins it. He wins his second 1v1 back-to-back, keeping this game close and within 2. If he doesn't win those 2 battles, it's a very, very different scoreline. For just a moment, Bound was the last player alive. Tylenul knows exactly where he is on the rat tunnel door. He'll pick up that first one, and just like that, it is a 1-kill game.
Gonna reposition with this sniper as well. Oh, but Eco knows exactly where he is. Bravely challenges from sandbags. Could have had his head ripped off. Pznguin, unfortunately, falls victim to the 1-2 combo again as Kuhlect tries to make it a double. Will do so, but the trade comes out. 27-29. This sniper has not really been able to stay in anyone's hands for a long period of time.
Heads up play there by Kuhlect to grab that sniper so quickly because the comms would have come in on the side of C9 that the sniper was dead. That would allow the push for sandbags. Eco was not expecting, excuse me, I think Eco got the first kill. The rest of the players on Cloud9 were not expecting the sniper to already be in Kuhlect's hands, so heads up play by Kuhlect to take advantage of that. However, during all this, Ace a little bit of repulsor helped to avoid that awkward window battle. However, Cloud9 up 34-30.
And they get the next overshield as well. Suppress tried to pot the Ovi, but just died before he was able to get those split seconds to do so. And Cloud9 now not only have a 4-kill lead, but they have an overshield to work with. And a little drop ball to give some extra cover. But this good damage coming out from Space Station. I will say that today has been incredible, by the way, for Halo action. But teams have done very well at avoiding Ovi, melting Ovi. Wow. It hasn't been necessarily the crazy power-up that's happened in historic games of Halo. 34-33. What a passage of play that was for Space Station.
Case in point, perfect use of the cuts there. They put 2 players cuts who double the Ovi. They have a little bit of a dipsy doodle around the nest, around the C-plat box, and it's a little bit of a hard battle for the overshield to get into. And just like that, this game is once again tied. Only a 1-kill lead for Cloud9.
Just imagine if Space Station are able to take this game too. Going into game number 3, knowing they're only 1 map away from a grand finals, they would not have expected to even be thinking about that coming into today's competition. Whilst every player believes in themselves, sometimes there is that kind of ceiling that you hit, but it seems like Spacestation, we've only just touched the surface of what they are capable of, looking at what they have done today. 39 to 37.
What the team
I tell you
shot?
what, Bounds just walked into an absolute firing squad.
Oh my God, Bound, even hitting the slide there, gets absolutely ripped. A team shot from Green. He will get eliminated by at least 2 BRs, so that will bring the game now within 1. And this is a little bit of deja vu. Keep in mind, Cloud9 was 2 feet off of the flag stand to close out the game in overtime. Now they find themselves 1 kill up here in the late game. Spacestation looking to bring this game back again.
10 seconds till this sniper comes up. That's the next kind of focus point. Overshield is going to be popping as well, so both teams going to be considering both of these goodies to work with. Cloud9 have been able to get the better of Spacestation for the overshield in the last couple, but it's how Spacestation have dealt with them that's been really impressive. Eco takes down 1, does find another as well, does Kuhlect, and now we're going to see an overshield popped into Kuhlect's chest.
Oh my God, you couldn't ask for a better setup here. He's got the overshield, he's got the sniper, and they're down by 2. He's going to go ahead and rotate back to Cuts. Bound trying to pressure him from the bottom of scoreboard. Those nades are going to tap off just about the remaining part of the overshield. 1 kill game here. 43-42 in favor of C9. Kuhlect truly with the game in his hands.
How concerned are Cloud9 now? They know the sniper is somewhere on the map, so you don't want to be peeping out of the wrong angles, the wrong doorways, otherwise you might be greeted with a bullet between your eyes. Kuhlect is waiting just to see if anyone pokes Green. It's a very common angle to check, where some people want to look to see whether that sniper rifle is going to be top tower, but it looks like Cloud9 are holding strong. They have the lead right now, and they say, hey, Spacestation, you need to come to us. We don't actually have to peek you. They might even wait for this next overshield.
Here's the questions. What angles will Kuhlect take? So far, he's been top tower exclusively. You have to think maybe he's thinking about a nest bridge or an overshield angle soon, because you have to guess with the veteran players on Cloud9, they are not going to offer those peak angles. Suppress comes off of Nest, which actually gives Green options. Eco already tucks into Green. Take a look at that. That means Kuhlect's going to have the Green option right here. Does not connect. Surprising to see them give up Nest the way they did, just like that. It's 44-43.
And love the push as well from Cloud9. They peek initially at Green, then the 2 players go back tower. They spike nade up. As we talk about spike nades, that one's a little bit of a rough one, but it's still 44-43. Can Kuhlect hit this shot? He spots out Pznguin. Needs to retreat, needs some help. And the AR is going to at least do some damage, but these sniper shots are not connecting, and it's not helping the team.
Difficult there. Still a 2-kill game, though. They certainly could have changed the course of the game. However, it's not over. Still just a 2-kill game. 45-43 back tower. Shot does not connect. Goes for a second. That will not connect. Make it 47-44. Cloud9 now only 2 kills away from closing it out.
What a different game it could have been if those sniper shots had connected. And after such an amazing game initially, Kuhlect not able to find the same form into game number 2 here. And Bound manages to get 1 to turn it into 49-46. And Spacestation, you know, they're still within it here. Just need to stay alive, but they're not able to do so. Cloud9, similarly to how they did in the previous winners bracket game, they close out StelluR Livefire here against Spacestation Gaming.
50-46 is your final score. Cloud9 takes advantage of Suppress coming off of Nest, and I was expecting to see a sniper rotate onto Nest Bridge. They didn't. Instead, they are able to get Green, and they sneak a player dirt. They send several players back tower, and in the end, the push pays off. But I think it's worth repeating, Dan, if Kuhlect is hitting those snipes, it's a very, very different game. And of course, those are the 2 sides of the scale. Pops off in game number 1. In the end, they will fall 50-46 by 4 kills in game number 2 to tie up the series 1-1.
You could argue if one of those body shots connects with the sniper with the no-scope, entirely different game. Right, you get so much of a swing with the amount of damage that sniper does, so you can clean up that kill, and then the rest of the team can come in and swoop and help take a 4 versus 3. But sometimes it's just not meant to be. You know, you've just had that incredible game 1 from Kuhlect, but going into game number 2, even though he's had a good game, just doesn't have that kind of clutch factor in those final moments. But Cloud9 forcing their hand. It has to be said, so many teams would have just kind of waited back, had the lead, said, all right, maybe do we wait for overshield? Do we wait this game out? But they knew if they wait for overshield, they almost give the initiative, they give the advantage to Spacestation, because then Spacestation can watch over that Ovi with a sniper rifle. So they make the play, they get to Green, they go back tower, and I love that Cloud9 really forced Spacestation to do something, but unfortunately, no sniper shots connecting on this time.
Yeah, Eco and Suppress leading in the damage category there. We'll take a look at some of the highlights in just a moment. What a game 2 it was. I couldn't agree more. I can't wait to see the highlights on those final pushes, but we'll start off here at 15-15. This game was so close and just absolutely jumped on Tylenul with that overshield. I think he got meleeed from the front and the back at the same time, if not flying through the player. And in the end, that was a little bit of a turning point for a little while when StelluR pops that late Ovi.
I think what is good and what I'm happy with is that we've got a competitive game here in the elimination finals over the past couple of weeks, because some of the bigger teams haven't necessarily been competing. We've had Optic and Cloud9 running the show and kind of running through all of the other teams until they face each other in winners finals and grand finals. And even though some of the other squads, they've given it a good go, finally we've seen another team really take maps off them, and it just seems like everyone's starting to realize how Cloud9 play in this Pro Series. As I mentioned earlier, Complexity also able to take a map off them in the winners bracket as well. And Spacestation find themselves tied 1-1. So even though they lose game 2 because they had that incredible Aquarius capture the flag victory, it does mean they go into the game 3 here all evens against Cloud9.
Eco and Pznguin there working together on that final kill from KotH. Keep in mind, that's a 49-46 game. That game was not over yet if things went a little bit differently. So shout out to Eco and Pznguin, of course, for cleaning up that last kill from a sandbag and KotH angle to make sure the Cloud9 gets that win. And once again, credit to them as well. I totally agree. They knew that overshield timing push would not have worked out well against the capable snipers of Spacestation. Instead, they bring it straight to bottom tower. And interesting that Spacestation really hadn't even started to rotate with that snipe. They got caught with their pants down back tower, and they will lose the game off of the fantastic push from C9. That will tie the series 1-1 in our elimination finals, and we are right into game number 3, going to be King of the Hill on Recharge.
Something that Lottie pointed out earlier is that Cloud9 have found success on some of these new maps and modes, King of the Hill being one of them, and they've been able to beat Optic consistently across these last couple of weeks on these modes. They did beat them on this map and mode combination just last week, so Cloud9 definitely know how to play this one. So Spacestation need to be careful. They don't allow Cloud9 to get too far ahead, but also you think back to Spacestation earlier against Sentinels. They were 2-0 down on King and they brought it back. So this could be a very exciting game indeed.
Also, let's not forget, I'm pretty sure we saw this game in the elimination finals last week, G1C9, if I'm not mistaken, and they lost that game 4-3. Essentially, just barely missed that first bottom hill, which was a pretty wild sequence of events. We'll have to see if the game will be just as close as last week. So far, C9 with about 40% of the way done. However, they do find themselves 4 dead for a moment. That's going to give an opportunity for Spacestation to try to pick them off once again.
And I do think that's the biggest difference in this series compared to last week is, G1 was so close in that first game, but they weren't able to quite get across the finish line and they kind of crumbled afterwards. Whereas Spacestation, they did get across that finish line in that game 1. It was so close on Aquarius capture the flag, but that will give them so much hope, so much belief in this series that it's going to make it really competitive. And I do think that both Spacestation and G1 are going to be the teams to watch really coming into these next tournaments with what they've been able to achieve over these past couple of weeks. They've been the overachievers of the Pro Series, that's for sure, to try and solidify themselves in that kind of top 4 discussion, if not further. But Cloud9, they've been able to get a lot of time here in this first hill.
Oh my God, Kuhlect somehow gets away alive. Also fakes up the C-Plat play, and you could tell C9 did not know exactly where he was. He's also going to fly out, challenge the Mangler pit. Going to need some help. In the end, tags up Eco. That will be cleaned up. 2 dead still for C9, but a fantastic display of just really small movement work there from Kuhlect around the quick jump and C-Plat to stay alive as long as he can, but only a little bit more time here for Cloud9 to close out the first hill.
Pznguin getting aggressive and somehow he stays alive with the camouflage as well. He crouched, he wiggled, he jumped, he dropped, he did everything he could to possibly stay alive, and somehow Pznguin not able to get those final connecting shots. And that means Ace can now really help the rest of this SSG squad to actually try and take this first hill, which would be an absolute steal if they're able to do so.
And now it looks like, especially with this mid-bridge presence, and 2 dead and 3 dead, bounds a spawner. Pznguin last player alive. They might be able to do this. They need to make sure they're staying in because they had an extra second there. Desperate effort, though, comes in from Bound. As I said, he was the spawner. Long haul spawns also coming in, which could secure the hill, and it could secure the next one. C9 will steal the hill off of Bound's fantastic play. Once again, as the last player alive, he will rush in. He will pick up the perfect kill. Cloud9 is the first to strike, and they'll take a lead, and they also get the long haul spawns.
Your responsibility in that position is to stay alive, and I think Bound was unfortunate that those grenades arrived before he could dip out and get into a position to just watch those players walk by and feed that information to the rest of the team. But it will allow Spacestation to push in, but 3-4, and Cloud9 have been able to hold strong despite the fact they were in a 3v4 temporarily.
Suppress probably knew it was over there as he goes into the long haul doorway, last player alive, and cannot convert on those kills, and going to be difficult for anyone to fly in to take advantage of that. Kuhlect, though, may be able to take advantage of the presence there at back. Hydro going to pick up a repulsor and maybe think about a crafty play towards the back as well. They'll get that first kill, though. That's the first pick. That will give them perhaps an opening, but look at the scoreboard. Cloud9 only moments away from closing this out.
I imagine Spacestation have let this one go and they're going to be looking at setting up for the next. Well, as I say that, they jump on into that hill, and perhaps they've caught Cloud9 in a little bit of a rotation situation. No, they do manage to get that final point, and Spacestation move right on back towards Elevator. Nice movement here from Ace.
Yeah, nice little movement there. Rotation situation, one of my favorite VHSs from the 90s. 2-0 though in favor of Cloud9, and Eco with some fantastic shots into Whirlpool. He will take down Ace, back Elevator. A key kill here, of course, for this hill. Tylenul though, camo in hand, an opportunity to reset the balance.
Well, but Stella sees it. Wow, Stella's got eyes like a hawk, and he manages to give that information to Bound, and Bound comes on in, clears up that camouflage, and sometimes these players are just able to spot that little shimmer, and it really can make a difference when you manage to do that initial damage to that player to get caught out and seen. Kuhlect, though, with the double kill, looking to get aggressive, and it's another perfect. It's not quite a triple, but it's certainly done a lot of damage to Cloud9.
There was great shots from Eco, too. Eco was ready. He had a reticle on the top A doorway still. Kuhlect with some fantastic movement and shots to win that battle, but it's been a lot of chaos here. Tylenul trying to stay alive on the doorway, looks away at probably the most inopportune time as he'll get taken down. He was one of the last players alive at back A. That will be continued time for Cloud9, who's looking very strong on this game type.
Where does Spacestation go? They try a little Whirlpool push here. Or are they going to try and just break through bottom elevator? It looks like they're trying to go for a 50-50 and trying to collapse together. Tylenul and Ace are the last two remaining players. It's a 2 versus 2, so you've got to work together and feed that information. Good damage from Ace, but is there enough damage from the other side? No, so they lose that 2v2. And unfortunately now, their teammates spawn in a 2 versus 4, and this point is going to go to Cloud9.
That point went, like you said, splitting that 50-50 aside Mangler door and top A, and then sending two separate players Whirlpool. It can work, but you need to have the timing push perfect, and even though they got 2 players weak back elevator, unable to convert on those kills, that will mean 3-0 in favor of Cloud9, and what has been a hot start from Spacestation has been so far arrested over the past few minutes from Cloud9.
So Cloud9, who have found a lot of success on this map, find themselves 3-0 up. 3 minutes remaining, so still time for Spacestation to get back into it, but it's certainly going to be a large mountain to climb. This is one of those hills as well, bottom of Blue Tunnel, where you can watch it from certain areas to really make it a nuisance for anyone to stay in that hill. So Cloud9, even if they were behind, they could probably force that player out quite consistently.
Suppress trying to do whatever he can. Gets collapsed, though. Actually, he has enough damage bottom middle to help that kill get cleaned up. Eco will get away with the camo at long haul, which is dangerous for the side of Spacestation. He's just going to sit sneaky for a moment and see if he can play this one out. Ooh, gets spotted out.
How is everyone seeing these camouflages? These guys have flawlessly.
These guys have better. I mean, keep in mind, we were playing on CRT TVs.
Back in the day.
These monitors. I need to get some of the monitors these guys are on.
I mean, to be fair, you need to get a good monitor. I've been saying this to you for weeks. You're still playing on 60 hertz, Andy, and it hurts me that I have to say that. And I've told the world, and I'm really sorry about it. But we need to get you a 144 hertz, if not a 240. Come on, let's get you gaming, bro.
I've actually downgraded. I'm back to a 30. I hadn't
you just want to feel the old days.
I hadn't told you yet, but I don't want to be Eagle Eye in the camo. That's not what I'm about here. I want to play like we used to. Cloud9 with a momentary lead here on this hill. Spacestation able to get quite a bit here, about 50% up here, as they're able to get all the way and maybe getting a point on the board before this one is done and dusted. But only 2:45 left on the clock, so not a lot of time to play with.
Similarly to what we saw Cloud9 do earlier against Optic Gaming on Streets King of the Hill, was taking advantage of a very difficult hill to get, just dwindling away at that time by playing a little bit of Slayer, forcing the opposition out so that even if that point doesn't go in your favor, you've got rid of so much of that clock that it's so difficult for the opponent to actually do anything in the next couple of hills. It did almost backfire against them with Optic Gaming, that's for sure. So they'll be hoping that Spacestation don't manage to wrestle this one back.
Look at Kuhlect able to stay alive against that repulsor. You have to wonder if that was on purpose, because if you sit right by the crate just like he did, you'll get repulsed into the crate instead of off the map. Fantastic work, but there's 3 dead. Tylenul's the last player alive. Oh, and he does the same thing, gets repulsed into the crate, but still it's enough from C9 with that pressure now, looking to come back on this hill, and they want to end the game right here, right now.
Yeah, all 4 were dead. This could be the beginning of the end then for this map. Desperate attempts now for Spacestation to dive in are not successful. Cloud9 now take the lead 2-1 in the series with a very commanding and effective 4-0 victory over Spacestation there on Recharge King of the Hill. It does seem like Cloud9 seem to have the better of most teams when we get to these new maps and modes. I think Lottie was completely right earlier when she looked at that series layout with some of these teams, and she was eagerly looking out for a catalyst as well in the series layout. But King of the Hill seems to be working out quite well for C9.
Very, very different game for Cloud9 based off of the past matches we've seen them play, and they've had a tougher bracket than usual. However, in that game, looking like the Cloud9 that we're used to seeing, 4-0. Taking a look at the stats here, big outlier on the one side. Suppress going 20 and 12, a great performance from him, but we'll highlight, of course, the winning performances on C9. 15 and 12 there from Eco, 16 and 10 from Pznguin.
Not the best of games for Ace, but you've got 10 assists. The damage will probably tell a better story of how these teams were performing, but I think when you look at a 4-0 anyway, I don't exactly think that any of these SSG players are going to be looking and pointing fingers. They'll just accept that they were beaten on the day by a better team on that map and mode. And as you look at the damage, fairly even across the board for the SSG boys. Eco, though, putting up over 5k, so he was the big standout player from that game. You have to say that Cloud9, they controlled spawns very well. They set up very effectively as well when it came to King of the Hill here, and SSG just didn't seem to know what to do to try and break a setup. I think that's where they really struggled here in this game.
Certainly, there are moments where they had opportunities, right? Let's not forget, some of these hills were pretty close, but after they lost that bottom mid one once again, they had teammates spawning on C9 on long haul, and it just felt like C9 controlled the game almost completely from thereafter.
As we look back at the highlights as well, I mean, the control that was found by Cloud9, it was never really threatened too much by Spacestation. There was times where, two guys would push in and they'd get a couple of players weak on the side of Cloud9, but like this moment, for example, like two push in, they get players weak, but those players can then be saved by the spawners, whereas the other two members of Spacestation are having to take a 2 versus 4. And it's just little things like that that if Spacestation can tweak, if they can get better at, then they suddenly become even scarier a team. But it just seems like King of the Hill Recharge was not their game type, and they'll probably be happy to see the back of it, if I'm honest. And I'm expecting them to come out a lot hotter when we get here into Game 4.
Yeah, I think that's just a game type that you brush off, you get ready for the next one. It's certainly the most dominant victory we've seen on the mainstream against Spacestation there, that 4-0. All the rest of their score lines, including the matches against Sentinels, were certainly very close as well. But that 4-0 win will give a lead to Cloud9 in this series, of course, 2-1. And if we're honest, possibly quite a momentum lead as well as we go back to live fire for Strongholds.
Yeah, and live fire has, been pretty good for Spacestation elsewhere in other series, but Cloud9 have also showed they know how to play it as well. And this kind of slayer of live fire and then onto an objective of live fire has happened a few times here in the tournament today, and it does give you an idea of how these teams play and which players are going to take the power weapons, for example. So you can then start to try and isolate those certain players to try and keep them away from those power weapons. Now that you can, of course, see the player names above the heads, you can turn that setting on. If you haven't, then I'm sure you will do soon, because you very much need to, because it allows you to then call out effectively to your team. But then you can say, hey, look, this guy's going to be on C-Plat right now. We need to keep him away from the sniper rifle. Let's make sure we're nading it. Let's make sure we're suppressing damage to ensure that they cannot grab that power weapon, because he really can make a difference with it.
Certainly, as we go back to live fire, that Slayer, of course, so close between the two teams. I think we saw that, obviously, both of them, with C9, we had no doubt about whether or not they know how to play live fire. I think we're seeing Spacestation also prove that they know exactly how to play the map as well. Of course, the game type's going to change things up quite a bit, Dan.
It is going to change things. Like, I mean, we see that across like most of the maps and modes. It doesn't always directly translate from Slayer to an objective. You get to learn tendencies, but that's about it, because it is going to be a very different play style. Certainly the pace of which we see live fire played by some of these teams is difficult to keep up with. I think that Cloud9 are going to try and constantly push those spawns, make sure they're collapsing on SSG. And if SSG don't have an answer, if they don't have a response to that, this could snowball out of control. But if SSG play the way they did in Game 1, right? If we see Kuhlect playing the way he did, if Suppress is able to help him, if they are hitting those clutch shots, if they are making those Cloud9 players really work for their kills, then SSG can definitely take this to a Game 5. And I think that's what makes this so exciting, is that Game 5 is definitely possible here.
Absolutely. It's been a fantastic elimination final so far. We thank you for hanging out with us. It's just past 10:30 p.m. on the East Coast for some late night Halo, and much later for you, Dan, in the UK, as we also get ready for Strongholds. Map number 4, Cloud9 versus Spacestation. C9 currently leading the series 2-1 in what many months ago would not have expected to be this tight of a series between these two squads, but Spacestation has been on a tear in this tournament so far. We'll see if they can force a game number 5.
And remember, the reward is a grand final against Optic Gaming, who are watching, waiting, eagerly hoping that they can also find another back-to-back victory in tournaments in Pro Series, in the last Pro Series of the season as well, of course, this Pro Series 7. So not only is Spacestation going to go out with minimum top 3 here, they are going to go into the next tournament as a top 3 team, effectively, from online performance. KotH just managed to get 2, if not 3 there back-to-back, and he's been rewarded with an overshield.
So despite some fantastic points on the board early, already a 28-point lead coming in from C9. It is Spacestation that slow plays the overshield, and now KotH with a full, essentially, overshield 75% still to play with, and they will have a trip cap as well, and they will continue scoring. Killing spree for KotH off of the opening.
Remember, KotH was not hitting those sniper shots at the end of the game on StelluR Livefire, but is he going to start to hit them now when he needs to help his team? I think he did connect with that one, but the body was already dead. Doesn't matter too much. But B and C already in control. A about to be in control as well. Spacestation playing this so efficiently with their rotations, keeping Cloud9 very much questioning and second-guessing themselves when they spawn.
KotH is going to tag a player up at C. He's going to fly right over to B. Look at this, a one-man army. He actually gets nuked there. A frag and maybe a spiker as well. I thought he had a little bit of overshield even left to play with. He will eventually get taken down. And that's an aggressive push to come all the way off of C, Dan, to go all the way back to B.
You can see, even though Spacestation had total control, even though they're playing it really well, Cloud9 now have the lead again, and that's just because of the amount of points that Cloud9 were able to get in those opening stages, whilst everyone was kind of scrapping back and forth for that overshield. One player went, captured B, and then joined overshield a little bit late. So that's always the decision-making process you have at the start of the game. Do you try and capture that B stronghold to gain a little bit of time, or do you commit entirely to that overshield? In this instance, I guess you could argue both points, because it's worked out pretty well for both teams.
Suppress will pick up a double off of Ace's damage, and somehow with the sandbag nades will stay alive, then help again at B. What a run here from Suppress, and he's, oh no! Looked like he was going to drop off of the overshield pillar, but did not. Instead, he stayed up on top of it. Might have turned just a little bit late. Oh, my God! Tylenul also brains bound. 1v1 here on the overshield. Eco's going to win that one. That will secure the overshield for StelluR on Cloud9. What a turn of events. My God, it was a Spacestation lead here, 84-48, but this overshield in the hands of StelluR could change things.
I'd love to see a stat on the amount of times that people have had overshield in their hands but not been able to pop it into their chest here on Livefire, because it happens so much where it's just back and forth. Sometimes we see 3, 4, even 5 bodies fall, all trying to grab that Ovi because they know how important it is and how much difference it can make. StelluR has no overshield to work with now though, and Ace challenges, but somehow StelluR, I think with a little bit of help from teammates, does get the kill.
Oh my God, and he's still alive here as well. They're going to take down Tylenul, who just gets absolutely 2v1 there on Nest, and they will continue scoring, and we're going to have to see that in the highlights there. It looked like Suppress was about to drop off of the overshield pillar. I'm not sure if it was an observer mode thing where it looked like he was about to drop, but then didn't drop. That could be certainly quite a defining overshield, but there will be many more of those to play for. Still AB in the hands of Cloud9, as they will just about tie the game.
3 were dead for Spacestation there, but Tylenul has been able to sneak away with a sneaky little sniper rifle. Manages to force at least Bound down to bottom middle, but now with these angles that he's taking, it's all well and good, but they don't have the strongholds to be defending, so you almost need a little bit of aggressive play from the Spacestation roster, and Tylenul probably wishing that his team would push in so he could assist them rather than him having to make the entry himself. But he's going to reposition to try and do so.
Those 2 dead for each side. He's going to hit the little shot in the top of the spine and follow it up with a back smack. Also sees bodies falling from the sky. He'll trade again. Pznguin, though, in the feed will also pick up a double kill, so a momentary 1v1, 1v2 for KotH on the overshield, which is up. Somehow wins it against Bound, but knows that he will not be able to win 2 more of those, so he'll back down for just a second.
Those are the perfect moments for you as a team when you're in control of the strongholds. You have A and B, and the other team has to just back down and go for that overshield because you gain time and you get the overshield. But I tell you what, those are some beatdowns to very quickly make that overshield disappear.
Oh my God, it is a double team there, but we're gonna have to say a little bit of stuff that might not have happened on land there on your screen. Ace will trade out with StelluR. It's still a huge trade with that overshield. That's gonna give them a lot of momentum. Bound was the only player alive on C9 for just a second. That will lead to the trip cap, and even though right now it's a 26-point lead for Cloud9, that could be very short-lived.
Certainly in this game so far, Cloud9 have been better at controlling the 2 strongholds, but Spacestation, when they do get control, they get that total. They get 3. They manage to put so much points on the board to crawl back into the game. Well, actually not crawl, they sprint back into the game. but can Cloud9 keep this consistency where they constantly find 2 strongholds, hold for about 60 or 70, then allow Spacestation gain a little bit of time? Or can we finally see Spacestation set up now with B and C and really peg Cloud9 back?
Oh no! KotH not getting that kill is absolutely huge. Penguin staying alive somehow in the back of the base, but it's a triple kill for Suppress, which shuts down the entire push from the back of green. Eco's the only player alive. He's at C. That will mean A is flipping as well. They will trade out for C, and it's a huge late game triple from Suppressed to keep the team in the lead.
And this is what Spacestation have to do. Every time that Cloud9 manage to break either into C or A when they've got the other, they just flip it. They just play the opposite side of the map and make sure they have someone dipping their toes into that stronghold as well. But you need a player ratting out in B, someone who's going to be prepared to win those gunfights or maybe repulse a player off the map, for example. But Cloud9 finally do break into B. They finally get A and B in control.
Wow, A-B break there, even when they had 3 players alive on the side of Spacestation, so perfect rotation timing in. They do have a 2-man advantage, though, but KotH is also going to get this overshield. Should win this one against Bound. He will take him down. That's 2 dead yet again. This should be A converting. They might leave their opponents at B. They know they need to clear out the back of C here.
KotH just trying to help Tylenul, but in the end, Tylenul doesn't need the help because he's got a sniper rifle to the body to do the job for him. Pznguin's trying to make that jump, but unfortunately with a grenade underneath you, you're not going to be able to do so. A and C in control. Spacestation getting closer to taking map number 4 here, but still what will feel like for them a long way to go. But they're going down the right track to take us to a game 5, that's for sure.
Let's see if they bring the pressure here, because right now they have an opportunity. 2 dead. They can continue to collapse on A. They can continue to apply the pressure and not let them push out. Double big door push here coming in. A little bit of tag up on the teammate there. It looks like on Ace, but they will finally finish that one out. Ace is going to go right into A. KotH needs to make sure he plays this carefully. They've got 2 dead, they've got 3 dead. Last player's Rat Tunnel. It's a great push once again. It will be a trip cap for Spacestation.
Spacestation with the trip cap. Spacestation taking it to Cloud9. Spacestation trying to take us to a game 5. Cloud9 just have to slowly wrestle back C and assess how they are going to break this setup now. Tylenul has a sniper rifle. He can either go to big door to watch Nest or he can control top middle. It looks like he's going to go for the latter.
Needs to win these battles. It's a big shot there on the Nest box. That's a huge kill. Going to keep an eye on Nest Bridge as well as the Pillars push here. Knows he also has to watch top middle. He'll find StelluR. Needs to stay alive, though. He'll have the comms, though. First one's cleaned up. It's a double green push coming in from Cloud9. There's 2 dead. There's 3 dead. Bound is the last player alive here. He's going to be trapped in sandbags, and that's the game. Spacestation will win Strongholds on live fire 250 to 150 and send us to a game number 5.
Well, this series deserved it, didn't it? Really, when we had our game 1 earlier, there was such a close Aquarius cap to the flag. It would have been rude not to have a game 5 Slayer between these 2 teams for all the marbles. What a game from Spacestation, it must be said. Even though Cloud9 looked quite good when they were in control of 2 of the strongholds, never did we see Cloud9 with total control. It was Spacestation who were looking like the more experienced roster. They were thriving under the pressure. They were constantly trapping Cloud9 on spawn and pushing and taking advantage of having that extra player up. Amazing play from SSG. I cannot express how impressed I am with what they've been able to achieve this week.
And look at KotH. He's back, making up for his game 2 live fire. 19 and 10 here in that last game, making sure that he made the performance count to send his team to a game number 5. Enormous numbers from him. The rest of the team stepping up in big ways as well. Look at Tylenul, sneaky, 12 and 6 as well. Taking a look here at the damage.
4.2k for Eco. Not quite enough, as 3 members of SSG over 4k. I don't know what Spacestation have been able to do in these last couple of weeks, aside from, of course, the change and bringing Suppressed on, which has made a big difference, but they look like a completely different team from what we saw last week. And even Cloud9 are probably scratching their heads saying, where did these guys come from? They were finishing top 16 a few months ago, and then suddenly now they're in the top 3, and they have a game 5 to get to the grand finals. This has been an outstanding week for Spacestation, but you've got to get the job done still, right? You still have to win this game 5, but at least they've given themselves the chance to do so, brother.
Absolutely amazing teamwork there. Moments like that where Suppress is able to stay alive. Here's the play, I believe, on the overshield where we're going to get to see this. He goes ahead, starts to drop, and then pivots there. Gets taken down. That was a moment of panic because it was about 90, as you see on your screen, to about 50. In the end, though, some fantastic kills do come in for the side of Spacestation to start to bring the game not only back, but as you said, a trip cap, and they go on an absolute tear.
As we watch back at some of the other moments, it was a very different story with the sniper rifle as well, it has to be said, compared to the StelluR live fire we saw earlier, Bravo. We saw a lot of shots missed by SSG. They were making them count here in that Strongholds live fire.
Yeah, I agree. That was a suppressed triple there that you just almost saw the end of. At back green, another huge turning point in the game, and then Ace and Suppressed also push Big Door once again to close it out. Fantastic pushes for them. Can they do it again? Can they do the impossible? Space Station and Cloud9 into a Game 5 Street Slayer to decide who goes to the Grand Finals.
You know full well that Space Station are going to be confident going into this. The individual fights they've been winning, the fact they're in this Game 5 versus Cloud9. Are Cloud9 going to fall to the pressure now? Are they going to be a little bit worried about what Space Station have been able to do? Or are we going to see the Cloud9 who have often dominated in Slayers in these scenarios? A lot to do for Space Station, but it's a nice early start, a 2-1 lead.
Rock still up, bottom middle, Ace not able to grab him. You see on your screen, still up. Big win there from Suppress. We'll see who could finally get these. Might have been a C9 grab already. We'll take a look off screen. Looks like those might be going into tires. Pznguin has them. It's a 1-kill game. The pre-nades come into tires and they will tag him up. Ace not able to finish that one. So the game will stay within 1 here, make it tied at 5 off of the opening. And what a week it's been for Space Station. 4 dead for Cloud9, just like that. They'll go up by 1, 7-6.
And Space Station just need to play their game, not the moment here, right? They can't get sucked into the fact of thinking about a grand final, thinking about the fact that this is a Game 5 versus Cloud9. They just need to do what they've been doing on other maps, taking these fights, being confident in their engagements, but making sure they are running as a unit and not letting anyone just run on their own and end up getting isolated. Because as soon as Cloud9 do smell a little bit of a blood, they're going to be like sharks in the water and they will punish you.
Oh boy, and just like that, 2 players die back A. It's a fantastic collapse coming in from C9, and Suppressed team spawning at Tram. They're going to have a moment to think about it as they have to push out of the map once again, but I tell you what, fantastic to have you with us here for this game number 5, one of the most memorable elimination finals we've had in a very long time. Space Station in their first ever elimination final in Halo Infinite. Cloud9, no stranger to this depth of the bracket, but they've had quite a road. Right now, they lead only by 2 in this game number 5.
And what looked like it was going to be all kind of swings and roundabouts back when Cloud9 picked up Bound for these Pro Series and they were able to win that initial week. They managed to then drop down a little bit lower in week number 2, and they could drop even further here in week number 3 if they're not careful, but Bound does make things known as he wins that engagement and puts Cloud9 5 kills ahead.
Bound with some choice words there and some choice shots as well. He will be the one thrusting in with the Bulldog on the pink street to pick up that kill. That will give them now a 6-kill lead. Will this be the victory lap for Cloud9 as they start to rack up kills and get the biggest lead they have yet in the game?
And I think that says a lot. I mean, body language, Spartan language, whatever you want to call it. I think it shows that Cloud9 are a little bit worried. You want to let them know, you want to try and use any mind games that you can, but Bound probably saying like, who do you guys think you are? Even taking us to a Game 5. We're going to show you what we're made of. I'm going to show you what I'm made of now, and I'm going to out-BR you, outshoot you, whatever. But they've got to be careful here. You don't want to be the first to bag. You don't want to be the first to do it in case you do fall down and lose this game. But right now, 22-16, Cloud9 starting to run away with it a little bit.
Terrifying there. Pznguin drops down, somehow still gets the kills on V-Rail. That's how good he is. A back-to-back comes in from Bound. Interesting geometry on the angle there. Certainly learned something in geometry class that I did not. 24-17 on the back of the Commando. It's a push from Bound, and he will trade as well. That's what this player is capable of. He will fly into the base, pick up 3 kills single-handedly. Amazing work. That's 3 dead. Ace was the only player alive for just a second, but just like that, 8-kill difference for Cloud9.
Do you have a class in America specifically for geometry? Is that a thing that actually happens?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think most school districts across the U.S. and in some year you specifically take geometry. As you could tell, Bound certainly passed with flying colors, and same cannot be said for me.
Wow, that's impressive. I don't know if we ever even have a specific class in England, but we probably did study it. I don't think I was listening at the time, and that's why it says a lot for myself. 31-20. And I did do math, so that's a good thing. I know that there is a 12-kill difference right now. 32-20 is going to mean that Space Station have a lot to do here, Andy. And this is always the shame when you get such a close series, when you get to that Game 5, but then one team just runs away with it. And when it is Cloud9 running away with it, it means it's going to be increasingly difficult for Space Station to actually get back into the game.
It really will be here. Now, keep in mind, they can bring this back. We've seen some epic comebacks on this game type, and easier said than done. Eco, though, whiffs both rockets there. Thought the first one might connect on driveway. Thought he might sniff someone out. Ooh. Suppressed also answering back with some shots of his own. So the game stays within 13, still an enormous lead if we're honest for Cloud9. However, it does not get out of hand just yet.
Well, sometimes what you need to make a comeback is mistakes, and to force mistakes, try and get ahead of your opponents. We saw both those rockets whiff. That's the first mistake that maybe Spacestation can try and capitalize on here. They've not found themselves pummeled into the ground with rockets making the difference. But with Cloud9 only needing 11, of course you're going to lean towards them taking the victory and getting towards this grand final. But if you're a Spacestation fan right now, you need to believe, you need to send all of the willpower to this SSG roster. They've had such an amazing run in this tournament. But if they're not careful, it might just come to a halt right here.
Ace just gets ding-dong ditched off a C-Balk. Perfect shot there with the stalker rifle of Pznguin, excuse me. He'll pick up that one. Trades in the backbounds. Very happy to trade at this scoreline. 44-27 in favor of Cloud9. And if we're honest, Cloud9 making this last game look very different than the rest of the series. It's been a bit too easy for them as StelluR's going to do whatever he can to stay alive in the back of the base. Oh no, fantastic commando shots against Tylenul, doing it with style. He's not done yet. Still engaging. Might even get this kill on Ace and was only moments away from doing so, but 4 kills to go here for C9.
Maybe Spacestation prodded the beast one too many times, and before we go into the Cloud9 lair as well. Streets just seems to be a comfortable map for Cloud9. They know how to play it. They know the avenues they need to take to get quickly to their teammates or to the enemies. 46-30. We're going to need to see something special from Spacestation in this next period of play, but unfortunately, Eco's found 2 unexpected players.
Great angles from Eco. He had pressure there on B. He's going to be able to take the A-court angle. Rockets in hand as well. He's not going to miss with that one. Off the rack, and a shake of the head from Eco as well. 50-31, and he's earned that one. They will take game number 5. They will take the series and earn a rematch against Optic Gaming in the grand finals.
I mean, the fact that Cloud9 are even resorting to body disrespect, shaking their heads, shooting the body, hats off to SSG for getting in their heads, for putting them in that position. The only reason they're doing that is because they almost respect you, right? They've got to the point where they're like, okay, these guys are the real deal. This is not going to be as easy as maybe we had once thought, so we need to make a statement here to make it look like we're not weak to Optic Gaming, who they're now going to face in that grand final. We take a look at the stats, and it was a little bit of a whimper in Game 5 for Spacestation, but don't take away from the fact that they've just had their best tournament to date, and they really put on a show here in this elimination final, but unfortunately, they just couldn't quite get over that last final hurdle here against Cloud9.
Yeah, in the end, it's a C9 victory. We should say before moving on, as you mentioned, it's a fantastic run from SSG. It is the best performance we've seen as we take a look at damage bound, breaking 4K. Fantastic work from him. But SSG, a run that will not soon be forgotten, and for them, what they hope is a little bit of a pace setter and a tone setter for the rest of the season. It's a fantastic top 3 finish for them, and they'll look to even bigger and better things at the NA Super, Orlando, and of course, the Halo World Championship.
And if I am squads like FaZe, United, I'm saying we better get this roster sorted quick, because these teams that were previously below us may not be below us when we get back into the game. We need to start practicing to make sure that they do not take us out of these spots that have been ours for quite some time. There's your final series layout. Cloud9 win 3-2, and the games they did win, particularly the KotH Recharge and the StelluR Streets, were very one-sided. We had some really close games in 1 and 2, and then Spacestation had their one-sided victory there in Game 4. But what could have been for Spacestation? Maybe if that StelluR Livefire had just got a few kills a different way. So close, but yeah, I'm sure it'll feel like them so far. But it's a top 3 performance, Lottie, that Spacestation I'm sure will be delighted with. But we have our grand final as Cloud9 Optic once more.